Hey Decide Destiny crew, Carl Spreedy's here. Thanks for joining me for another Decide Destiny Daily Dose. I've got Cherie in the hot seat. Say hi to the folks, Cherie.
Hello.
Cherie and I have both been reading this book called The Celestine Prophecy. I read it a couple months ago, and I've got the 10th insight here, which is the next version. And it's really, a brilliant book. It made me visualize a lot of Peru. And one thing that you mentioned was about the spiritual kind of depository of energy. So today's daily dose is decide where to deposit your energy.
Yes. What I learned from it was that fundamentally, if we have a look at all the conflict that's going on around the world, you can always draw it back down to the struggle for energy. And I don't want to go too specific and I don't want to get too controversial, but if you have a look into other areas of your life where conflict is occurring, even if it's in relationships or amongst your co-workers or just organizations probably, that in the end, like either if you are conscious or not, we are always wanting to gain energy, and energy can be in the tangible form, in a form of money or in the form of food. And yeah, essentially it's always going to be about an exchange of energy.
Exactly. And you're right, there's been such a transaction of energy in the last 2 years, and where people are depositing that as energy through the kind of chaos of some of it might be natural, some might be man-caused, some of it might be poor governance. I think a lot of it is, there's been a lot of divorces, a lot of breakups, a lot of friendship breakdowns, a lot of major issues, and just something like, COVID and what happened. I mean, one of the biggest impacts of that was your routine, your structure, your journey. It was just a smack in the, okay, how do I now manage? How do I now, exercise at home? Or how do I now do this? Or how do I now, I can't go to my local group of community people that kind of help me with my mental health, and so we've just seen a skyrocket of all things, suicides, everything that has really impacted, the humans on this planet. And that energy has just been like a tornado in the last 2 years.
Yeah, so if you think about it, if it is very, during these really difficult times, there has been a lot of fear that has come up. And if you think about what people do in a state of fear, they end up hoarding things, or like they're trying to grasp things. And what are those things? If we see in the supermarkets, there was barely any available like stock.
Blue paper.
And toilet paper and all this stuff, right? So it was it came down to survival mechanisms being kind of like triggered through there as well. But it was about
people lost their shit.
They're trying to people, it's like wanting to stock up on energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be really careful with the words that I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm doing the opposite. I just dropped the shit
know.
bomb. Sorry, I totally just blew your thing up.
No, that's
go
okay.
on.
Yeah. Just noticing that, or even when someone is, for example, just really unhappy with themselves and their life and aren't healthy, and they're trying to, what do they do in that state? Think about it. They end up trying to gain energy from other people, trying codependency, right? Can arise from that, right? They are eating more comfort foods. It's like all this hoarding energy once again, because they can't access it, or they can't generate it themselves through
or they don't have the correct information on how
to do so. They don't know how
to cultivate it in their own life. They deplete it with watching a channel that tells you the world's going to end every single day of your life. They deplete it of poor food, poor environment, staying indoors, not going outdoors, and getting the sun, getting the environment, their own thoughts, their own negative thoughts, their limitations of thinking that they can't grow. And I'm talking about me as much as everyone else, just so you know. But that's how you deplete your energy. And then what do? Like you said, you need to go grasp it. I mean, I remember when this whole thing in 2020 happened, I spent 2 days watching back-to-back news information. I haven't watched anything like that for a long time. Don't allow that to, I mean, I might watch it to have a look at it, but I don't allow it to kind of, I guess, infect me. And then I allowed it to infect me for 2 days straight. And I was just like, anxious and depression and all these different things. I went, oh, this is the source of anxiety and depression, you know, boom of our modern era. And I just felt this stuff that I hadn't had anxiety or depression for a long, long time. Got through all those stuff, and it hit me 2 days straight of just watching information of this new world-ending occurrence. Then I looked outside. There were more people walking dogs than ever. There were more people walking outside of their houses than ever. I went, oh my God, like there's this reality, and then there's this reality. You know, there's this environment, and then there's this environment. And that's really where I was able to move the energy, because I was pouring the energy into this, and all this was doing was sucking me dry, sucking my energy dry. And then I had to go and find places that can actually boost my energy, being around people, being around nature, being around people that are positive, that are bubbly, that are, you know, and if they're not positive, maybe you can infect the environment. And so what I was doing was actually depositing all this energy into this information and these people giving this information. And I was like, whoa, I'm not really depositing any energy back into myself. So then I actually had to go back outside. I started planning projects and different things that I was going to do, and get into the creative environment with all this creation around us. You know, that's hours and hours of energy just spread on a canvas. So, you know, and that's what I think it is about, is where you're going to deposit that. You know where you're going to deposit your money. You know where you're going to deposit, you know, your groceries when you get home. All these different things you're going to deposit in places. Where are you depositing your energy? You know.
Yeah, we got to see our own energy as a currency, our own personal currency, and we only have so much of that in a day. And we've got to see it as our most priceless and most valuable asset. And so we've got to think about, who are we wanting to give our energy to? Where are we wanting to give our energy in the kind of workplaces, or the creations and the places and the environments, because all of that is going to be it's important to have like a mutual exchange of energy. Otherwise you're just going to be depleted.
Relationships is a huge thing, and in the Celestine Prophecy it talks about that, and the parental relationship, and how the lack or the lack of energy in the previous, like in their life, causes them to raise the kid in a certain way. And I just looked at that, I was like, every parent needs to read this book and realize what they're doing to their children, like the abuse or just the I guess needing to suck energy from a child. I need you to be this way. I need you to do that. And you know, different sort of things that they're kind of that how they, I guess, damaging that child. You know, and I think a lot of humanity, a lot of the spiritual beings, how we can have resilience of the world, how we can be better equipped with skills, how we can be better equipped with our economics. All these different things can come from parents, and unfortunately it's not even their fault sometimes. You know, sometimes they're not given a good script to run off, you know, and that book in Celestine Prophecy really gets into how much of you is your parents. Okay. You know? Yep. I might have just released a bit of a later insight. Maybe. Spoiler.
No,
Spoiler that.
All good. But yeah, if you haven't read the book, we highly recommend you read it, because it just unlocks certain things. And things as though you're not going to take in information if you're not ready for it. So it's about going on, you know, your journey. And if you feel like that book resonates with you, pick it up and just have a read, because some of it can just be so mind-blowing, or some of it just waffles right past you, and then you never know, down the track you pick it up again, and then you read it again, and then based on your life experience you're like, whoa, that actually happened to me. I understand this lesson now. So it's like a very timeless book.
Yes, and I found it a real visual treat. Okay. Like I've been to Peru, and that place has such an incredible energy to it. It's like it's like a spirit for people that are into their own spirituality. It's an oasis into something that they can't hold and feel, but there's like a certain vibe and frequency. Peru is incredible for that, and so. And also they've got that natural first. You know, if they've got a problem or an ailment, they treat it naturally first. If that doesn't work, then they go and seek a reversible procedure. You know, I think there was one gentleman. There were these, I think they were 80-year-olds. They were playing soccer, kicking the ball around. 80-year-old, because the tour guide, she looked old. I said, "How old's your dad playing soccer?" And she's like, "Oh, he's 78." I was like, but he's running and he's kicking a ball.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen in the West.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you kick something and your ankle flies off in the West. You know, like you know, I mean, in our society. And she's like, yeah, no, he's healthy, he's fit. And I asked her like more about the natural health sort of stuff, and she said there were scientists that found skulls of people from 400 years old, like way back in the day, in Peru, in the mountains, and these skulls they tested like the age or how they think, you know, and they reckon they lived to 120.
Okay.
So you look at people back then, some people, according to this lady was saying that they lived to 120.
Wow.
And you're going, well, they didn't have hospitals, they didn't have all these different sort of things, you know, but they lived to that age. So it's a very eye-opening, awakening sort of experience. And then reading that book, there was another sort of I visualized all the beautiful nature and the battle between, you know, conserving that nature and then conserving the natural, and then the kind of the man, like, I am God, I need to, you know, like break this down and decide what the dogma is.
Yeah.
You know, and that whole balance was something that's incredible in that book.
Yes.
Yeah, highly recommend Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining this Destiny Daily Dose. You never know where it's going to go. You never know where it's going to take you.
Never know what's going to come out.
You never know what's going to unfold, and that's the whole point of doing it. Is the process of it actually gets amazing things out. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, and this is just based on our experiences and what we believe in. So regardless if you take on what we've shared or not, that's all good. But yeah, it was just nice to have a discussion on that.
Yeah, 100%. It's all in your hands. Cheers, guys.